James, coast to coast, and throws it down.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Coast to Coast Podcast. Today, we're talking about the wild card weekend, super wild card weekend. Looking back on it, some controversial takes. People talking about the 7th seed needs to be eliminated since these last couple of years they just never really competed in any of these games. The most notable one we get is MVP Mitchell Trubisky last year when he played the Saints and got dominated. But
hey, wait, let's talk about that real quick. That's a great talking point because I'm pro the 7th seed.
I am too. I feel like if the Chargers or the Colts were in it instead of the not the Eagles, the
Steelers.
The Steelers, different story.
Yeah, it's just like unfortunate we got stuck with like Big Ben and then the Raiders. I mean, the Raiders made it a frisky game, but like, yeah, I definitely would have rather seen Jonathan Taylor or Justin Herbert like doing their thing, 100%. But like, I'm for it. It's an extra game, like it's fun.
Like you telling me like Herbert just wouldn't have gone off in that game versus the Chiefs?
I know.
I mean, Herbert would have, but that team ain't doing shit against the Chiefs. Probably would have been the same outcome.
It would have been a high.
Yeah, with their coaching, it would have been fun to see Herbert make like a few crazy plays.
Exactly. But we're gonna jump straight into these games. Taking away with the Bengals, Joe Shiesty and them boys out in Cincy, getting the first playoff dub. I believe Joe Burrow is one of 3 quarterbacks drafted first overall to get their first postseason win within their first 2 years. Giving the ESPN stat, I think Michael Vick and Andrew Luck are the only 2 other guys to do that. So get himself in some elite company, making the gap closer when people were saying that Justin Herbert should have been the number 1 pick had it not been for, unfortunately, the use Mario Cristobal's game planning around Oregon and not being able to show off Herbert and what his amazing arm talent was. So I'll ask you a question real quick before we start talking about the game. I'll ask Carson first. Do you think the gap between Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert is like not much at all anymore? Or do you think it's like a 1A, 1B, or do you think Herbert still got at least a little lead?
No, I think it's close. I think they're just different quarterbacks. I think Burrow does, like, he has the intangibles and he does the little things better, but obviously Herbert is much more talented. And I hope like on a greater scale, this would be like, peak scenario, like a Brady Rodgers, where I think we can all say that Rodgers is a much more talented quarterback, but look who's, won more in his career. Look who's done the little things more in their career. I think that could be something similar in their relationship. I don't think it's that far off. I mean, it's just the fact that Herbert's arm talent is like generational, but that doesn't deny the fact that Burrow's got more to show for it than Herbert does with the playoff win. We'll see how they do next round. But yeah, it's close for sure.
And Jose?
Yeah, I also think Joe Burrow has a lot more weapons than Justin Herbert, a more well put together offense. The Chargers are a lot more top heavy. They're 1 injury away from one of the worst receiving corps in the league. So I think Justin Herbert has, done a lot early on in his career, but we've got to see how he, has success later on in the playoffs. Joe Burrow's probably one of the most accurate QBs I've ever seen, especially for a year 2 QB. Like, he just fits it in such tight windows. I'm like, how the fuck did you just make that throw? But they're both like just so impressive and fun to watch.
Yeah, a 70% completion percentage this year for Joe Burrow, number 1.
That's amazing.
Look like he's going to be kind of a Drew Brees guy when it comes to those, completion percentage, but sending it downfield because, like you're talking about, he's got one of the best receiving corps in the league. It helps when, not really a great head coach in Zach Taylor. I mean, I think it's the talent that's really out there producing, but Zach Taylor was a wide receivers coach with the Rams, so he knows how to develop wide receivers, and they might have one of the best tandems going forward these next couple years. But just diving into the game, though, we saw Jamar Chase put up 100 yards. Derek Carr, he did what he could do. Wasn't really getting that production from Renfro this game. 8 catches for only 58 yards. So, just getting like running back numbers at wide receiver. Josh Jacobs did fine, but just when it came down to it, Cincinnati just had so much offensive firepower, and it was hard to stop it. Unfortunately, they will be without their star defensive tackle, Larry Ogunjobi, going through the playoffs, but Trey Hendrickson dominated. Jose, what are your takeaways from this game, especially looking forward at a team like the Raiders going into the offseason with a lot of questions to answer after they had one of the most roller coaster seasons I think we've seen in maybe probably the last 2 decades in the NFL?
Yeah. Honestly, proud of this Raiders team for the way that they've fought this entire season. They've definitely overachieved. And I mean, like, this is a win, I would say. Being this close, we were a couple throws away by Derek Carr in the last few seconds from winning this game, or at least tying and going to OT. But I mean, this Bengals team, like, they've got their eyes set on, Super Bowl aspirations. And right now, like, they've got a decent chance to make it there. Looking forward ahead to the Titans game. I don't know if the Titans have an answer for Jamar Chase at all. Like, Derrick Henry supposedly practiced in full today. But are we going to get, what percentage of Derrick Henry are we going to get right now? Because I believe he broke his ankle or he broke his foot or something. Week 9, week 8.
Yeah. I think
around there.
Like that.
Mid-season.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't know if Derrick Henry's just going to come in and be the Titans' savior. I mean, they've got a good run game regardless, but this Bengals team right now could be, on the verge of a Super Bowl berth this young, but we'll see.
Carson, what are you thinking? I mean, we'll talk the matchup, but what are your takeaways with this Bengals team going forward? Do you think that they got a firepower to match up if they somehow end up in the AFC Championship going against the Bills or a Chiefs offense that is just all fired, all go?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Jose. I think, the Bengals are really set up to succeed now and then also just improve, in the near future, because I think, the glaring, hole on this team is, the offensive line, which their offense is so talented that they've been able to overcome that. But, Burrow still takes like a shit ton of ridiculous hits. And I think they're more of like a year away. I mean, anything that they do, even just winning this first playoff game, if they lose next round or wherever they go, it's going to be a dub. It's going to be an overachieve regardless. And I think, once they improve that offensive line, then really we'll be talking about like next year, 2 years from now, them being like really, really serious. I think that's the craziest part though. Even without, a good offensive line, we could still see them, if they made it to the Super Bowl. I don't think any of us would be surprised. They're that talented. Their defense is that good, something we didn't really expect coming into the season. But yeah, I mean, shout out to the Raiders. I mean, that, like Jose said, the fact they kept it close was also, an overachievement from them. Honestly, the silver lining them getting, booted so early is that they'll have a lot more time to like reassess, like, all right, there's a lot of shit that needs to be done within this organization. Like, we have more time to attend to that and see where they go from there. If they keep Carr, there's going to be a lot of teams that would love to have Derek Carr, but a really good season this year. And we'll see with them. Who are the Bengals playing next week?
Titans.
Titans, number 1 seed, Titans.
Yeah.
They got the best matchup.
Man, Henry doesn't even have to be Henry. He could be like 75% of Henry, and I still would honestly, I think, take them. Just the experience. Mike Vrabel, he's going to know how to defensive game plan against them if anybody does. So I would probably pick the Titans. I want to see the Bengals win, but if I would put money on it, I'd probably go with the Titans.
Yeah, I think it comes down to if Ryan Tannehill can come out of this slump that he's been all season and turn into a postseason hero for them. Because we've seen the defense, like you're talking about, Kevin Byard reasserting himself as one of the best safeties in the league with an first pro all-team selection. It should be a good game, though. Like you said, 75% of Henry should give them enough of an edge. But can you get the production of A.J. Brown like he is? But I think we're in for a shootout out there in Tennessee. So
wait, real quick before we move on, we didn't even address like the biggest elephant in the room in this game, like the officiating. Like, what are you guys' thoughts on it? Like, that was so crazy to me. Like, because I mean, yeah, obviously you heard the whistle and then people stop, but it's such a weird thing to like kind of tackle, almost, no pun intended. But like, you can't just take away the points like an hour later. Like, what happened. I don't know. That was so crazy. I don't think I've ever really seen something like that.
Yeah, I thought it was like, part of me was like, was that someone in the crowd blowing a whistle? Like, nah, like that was definitely an official that blew the whistle. And then I think now we saw that they're not going to work together, that crew, for the rest of the playoffs. Yeah, it was a weird call. I think everyone's like, what? Like, that's blown dead.
But why was the whistle, like, why was it blown in the first place?
I thought he
It was
stepped
a
out of
flag
bounds.
Okay.
That was the assumption, that Burrow rolled out of the pocket and was out of bounds before he could release the ball. So
Okay. Yeah, because I was questioning. I was like, wait, why would they even blow it? Okay, that makes sense.
well, see, it shouldn't have been blown in the first place because he never stepped out of bounds. But it was blown. That's you have to call the play dead. So
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't have even blown it because, like, yeah, I mean, if he steps out or not, you can just review that after the touchdown, after the play anyways. So
should have been a replay of down. That's what it should have been.
yeah.
I think they would have scored
exactly.
still. So
I think the play itself was like a valid play. It's just the fact that they blew the whistle to call it dead. You know, now that makes it, you know, do you replay it or do you let it go through? Like, but watching it in real time and live, like, I knew he wasn't out of bounds. I was like, no, he was hovering in midair while he made the throw. Like, he hadn't landed out of bounds yet. Like, that was very
tremendous
clear.
play by Burrow, by the way. That was a crazy play.
Yeah, crazy. Hey, at least the Raiders got rid of Mike Mayock because he can't hit a fucking first round pick to save his life. Because single one of them plays for them anymore. But
yeah,
for God's sake, we'll move on to a team that's absolutely dominated the Patriots, because a team that we thought could have been a dark horse midway through the season. But the Bills, a team that I have been hateful of this season because they really haven't proven themselves to a win until just now, getting a 30-point win at home versus the Patriots, a division rival. Josh Allen just looked fantastic. 5 touchdowns. And yeah, Jose, I'll hand it off to you. Is this Bills victory like as grand as it is, or were the Patriots just not at full strength?
I think this Bills team is looking the most legit it has looked all season. I mean, you saw that video, you know, of Jordan Poyer, you know, before the game. It's like, we talk shit, we strap and we hit hard or whatever. We hit hard, we strap hard, we talk shit, whatever he said. But I mean, I don't think they're getting too high on themselves though. Like, I think they're poised on, you know, finally making that run that they've been trying to get past, you know, the hump for the past like 2-3 seasons. And even though this season we kind of looked at them as like, this is kind of one of their, you know, not as great years, but right now they were perfect on every down and every drive in this game. They scored in every drive. So
that's crazy. I think, yeah, the kneel at the end was the only drive they didn't score, which is absurd. Carson,
Yeah. I mean, not much really. I mean, it was just such a dominating performance from Buffalo. I think it's still hard for me to try, even though they've been awesome the last few weeks and they had like basically the most perfect offensive game you could have. It's still like, oh, is that, you know, old Buffalo team that lost to Jacksonville? I'm just worried that they're going to like, you know, revert back to that at some point. That's just like the weird, superstitious, like, you know, fan in me. But, you know, they really just figured it out where it's like Josh Allen is like our best player. He's one of the best young quarterbacks. We need to get him like, it's kind of like Deebo Samuel, right? Like he just needs to like touch the football on every play, whether it's, you know, shotgun passing, whether it's, you know, running the ball because he's a fantastic runner. You know, he's huge. You know, it's, you know, he's kind of almost like just freaking mini version of Derrick Henry out there. It's like sometimes he seems unstoppable. You know, I don't want to compare him to Derrick Henry. Don't take that lightly, but yeah,
there's no comparison.
Yeah, sure. Like, you know, when he gets like out in space, it's tough to bring him down. He's huge. And I just think if they keep doing that, if they do, like, he needs to have the ball every single time. Singletary had a good game, but I wouldn't really trust him. Like, you know, I wouldn't get him the same workload that I would in this game just because they were up so much. They were rolling already. But like against the Chiefs, against a better defense, it's got to be Allen the whole time. I wouldn't even really like give him the same amount of carries, Singletary, as I would to Josh Allen. But phenomenal performance. They killed the Patriots. Patriots, it's only up from here. They'll maximize, you know, having Mac on a rookie deal, who actually played okay. You know, for a rookie quarterback in a first playoff game, you know, he didn't look like Kyler. You know, we'll get to that, but he was
the pick he threw. Micah Hyde was not his fault. That was the greatest pick I've ever seen.
Yeah, oh my God. Yeah, fantastic play. Like that. Yeah. One of only a couple players are making that play. Like that was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't bad, but I mean, Josh Allen was just sensational. It was amazing.
So they'll move on to play the Chiefs in the next round. And going into Sunday, I don't think we need to talk about the Buccaneers-Eagles game. There wasn't really much to talk about. Same with the Chiefs and Steelers, but there was one game we got to talk about.
Mac, you never step of help with none of you killing. You doing a lot of capping. Watch when I catch, I'ma whack you in front of the witness. Damn, I knew you were tripping. We could have been superstars. Remember when we were jacking cars? Now it's not safe for you. You switch like a pussy little bitch. Damn,
I know it hurts that me and Carson's team won this game, but bad by Randy Gregory, just getting in the neutral zone, jumping the whole time. I think 16 penalties tied a team franchise playoff record for the Cowboys. And then when it came down to it, was it the officiating fault? Was it Dak and the offensive line's fault for not moving out of the way? I think I got to hand it off to you, Jose, first. What are your takeaways from this game?
As much as I want to blame the officiating and say, they're lopsided calls or whatever, all the Cowboys Twitter talk that, every Cowboys team is penalized way more than every team, whatever. Ignoring that, we still had so many chances to win this game, especially in the fourth quarter. It was after Jimmy Garoppolo threw that pick, I was like, this is it. This is the moment where that Niners momentum just ends. And it happened the same thing in the Titans game a couple weeks back where he threw a pick and it was over. You just knew. And I was like, but are we going to capitalize on this? Are we going to be able to do it? We were trying to do way too fucking much from the beginning. We punted on downs that we should have never punted on. 4th and 2s, 4th and 5s, on the Niners territory that we should have never punted on. I don't think we missed any kicks, which was good. We only kicked one, but we had an extra point, whatever. But Dak was not good in this game. He was missing throws. I mean, that one play where after the fake punt and the special teams unit is still on the field, they're going to take another snap. What the fuck was that? Imagine if we get that time back. And now we're not, rushing to get to the line. And just skipping ahead to that last play. Okay, they run a QB draw, whatever. We get a huge chunk of yards, 20 yards. He goes down at the 25. We spot the ball so off. We were 4 yards in front of where the ball should have been spotted. And nobody rushes the ball to the ref because apparently nobody knows that the ref has to touch the ball. So they line up. Noah Brown's walking back to the line. He sets it down. And then the ref comes in and just bumps the shit out of Dak, touches the ball, and then we can't get the snap off. And that's the game. It's a mess. This team was a mess the entire game. I don't know if they were nervous. I don't know if the moment was too big for them. I all credit to the Niners team, but this was a very winnable game for a team that played, I would say, a Cowboys team that played one of their worst games of the season this past weekend. So it is what it is. I'm losing hope every year with the Cowboys. I don't know. I'm sure Mike McCarthy is going to go. I don't know if Kellen Moore is also going to go. Dan Quinn's probably gone. We've got a ton of unrestricted free agents. I don't know if we're going to have a better season than this. I mean, this is the best season we've had since 2016. So we shall see.
Carson?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we all thought you guys are really, really legit, but this game was it was just, you couldn't even script this game better. It was two teams that you never can trust to really close out a game with Kyle Shanahan and Jimmy G on one side and then the Cowboys on the other. But I do want to start off dogging on the Cowboys, adding on to Jose, all of Jose's points. I think Dak is a pretty big loser. He just didn't really play because there's times during the regular season where he plays just as well as some of the most elite quarterbacks in the league. 100%. He has his moments, but he didn't have that moment, against the Niners. He was not play well. But the biggest loser for sure has to be Mike McCarthy. First of all the penalties, and say what you want about the refs, but the amount of penalties, on both sides of the line, that stems from coaching. That lack of discipline as a team, stems from, your coaching leaders. And, then, the end of the game, Dak running right up the middle. I mean, that's not as much on Dak. That's just on a terrible play call. Like, to execute that where you're running up the middle with no timeouts, and in the span of 14 seconds, you're getting as much yards as you can, downing, getting everyone together, making sure everyone's set, all within that short time frame. Like that was so much had to go right for that to actually work out, and that's another testament of just bad coaching right there. And then it just did not put him in a prime position to win. So if this team wants to have any, improvement, I think Mike McCarthy definitely has to go. Now, the answer to that, I'm not really sure. Do you, promote Kellen Moore? Do you look elsewhere? I think Brian Flores would be a great option. I don't know how he's on the market right now, but some franchise is going to be really happy when they sign him. There's a couple other solid candidates out there. Maybe that's the answer, but I think definitely, to me, it's why they underachieved was coaching. As for the Niners, I mean, Jimmy G was really good in the first half. Drive after drive. I mean, I was really frustrated. The only thing I was frustrated about in the first half, which went really well for us, was we were up 10-0. I was 4th and 2, 4th and 3, and we didn't even end up going for it. We just kicked a field goal, and it's all right, we're taking a 2-score game and just making it another 2-score game, kicking the field goal. It's like we were clearly so much of a better team that day. We were just dominating on the line of scrimmage. Debo was all over the place. Like, why not capitalize? Why not just try to every time, 4th and 2, whatever, we have the advantage instead of, Shanahan, being a little passive coaching like he usually does. Elijah Mitchell, real big Mostert vibes. He is really, crazy, 6th round pick. He's really turned into our best running back, kind of by default with all the injuries, but he's been awesome. And I think he's a real threat, against any defense. Packers, I think the Packers are a better team. I trust them more. However, I mean, the Niners, Packers, it's always super close, between those two coaches, those two teams. So I'm really excited. But yeah, the thesis of my statement is Cowboys, the coaching situation has to be shaken up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm just gonna give my piece real quick when it comes to the Cowboys. You're hinting towards it a little bit when Dak Prescott, was talking to the media. This $40 million man faced the franchise, and he's talking about the referee situation, all that stuff. And I feel like as a guy who's trying to rally a team that doesn't really have much of a culture around them besides being America's team, you don't really want to see a guy like that being a sore loser complaining in that situation. You want to say, you know what? We're going to pick our heads up. We're going to go in the next season. We know who we are. And you don't want to see him saying, oh, I'm glad they were throwing stuff at the referees. I think that's poor sportsmanship on his fact. And I know he's better than that. We know what he's gone through in his career, and he should know better than to go into the media and start complaining about stuff like that when he knows everyone made mistakes. It was not just the refs. He made bad throws. Everyone made bad throws. It is what it is. But I think it comes down to Jerry Jones. It's a power struggle out there in Dallas. Jerry's never going to let go of power. And unfortunately, I think until Jerry somehow, not trying, you know what I'm getting to. I'm not going to say it, but until then, it's gonna be a long, hard thing in Dallas because, you need a coach that can come in there like a Jim Harbaugh, who whatever he goes to creates a different sense of culture. And you're never going to let that kind of guy come in. That's why Lincoln Riley was rumored there but never came, or Urban Meyer never went there because they knew they'd never have a chance of power. Thank goodness you didn't get Urban Meyer at this point because he's far worse than McCarthy. But I think, when it comes down to this Niners-Packers game, they got to unlock the run game. If the Packers shut them down, I don't think they have a chance to win at all because Jimmy Garoppolo is not going to lead us on his back throwing darts downfield to Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel.
I knew the pick was coming. I didn't even mention it. Jimmy G was great in the first half, but the second half, I knew at least one pick was going to be thrown, and I knew they were going to get back in this game somehow.
To our most bum-ass corner. You guys threw a fucking pick, bro.
Yeah,
I know.
I knew it was coming. I was like, it's going to be Diggs or whoever. It's going to be somebody, but Jimmy G will help the Cowboys at least make it more competitive.
And shout out the D-line. We lose Nick Bosa during the game, and they continue to go out there, had 5 total sacks. Nick Bosa didn't get that revenge from getting snubbed on the All-Pro team that he wanted, but hopefully he should be able to return from his head concussion injury and be able to be back. Because we have 3 guys that Jimmy Garoppolo, Fred Warner, and Nick Bosa that are all questionable for this Saturday's game versus Green Bay. If we don't have all 3 of them, I think it's game over for us. But We're gonna jump in really.
If Trey Lance starts.
Trey Lance will not.
Trey Lance starts. Nah.
Unless
No, I don't trust him yet. Too young. Too young.
That was the only reason we win. But we're going to talk about really quickly before we hop into these playoff games. Rams, Cardinals. Kyler looked like he was seeing ghosts out there. Throws a pick 6 on like the 1 yard line. I think I was looking at the Manning cast. There's a meme. It was like Dwayne Johnson's like, "You got to go hard out here." Like trying to like hype him up, and then he ends up throwing that pick and looking like an embarrassment. Shout out Cam Akers. Over 90 total scrimmage yards in his return from tearing an ACL in the preseason, which is crazy. Achilles. But
which might be worse.
The Cardinals, they need D-Hop. It's simple as that. But I don't know if D-Hop's going to be D-Hop when he gets back. I think this injury is going to set him back a little bit. But Jose, I'll hit it on you real quick. Anything you want to talk about for this game before we look into the next week?
This Cardinals team just feels a lot like the Steelers last year. They were like undefeated for so long, number 1 seed, mobbing through teams. And then they started playing some better teams and they folded. I mean, this team just looked like they didn't belong at all. Like, I would have rather just seen another fucking team in the playoffs than this Cardinals team. Like, this was bum-ass game. I don't even know if I want to feel good about the Rams after this. Like, Cooper Kupp he had a decent day. Odell Beckham, I would say, was probably their best, receiver that day. I don't even know, dude. Like, is this Rams team legit? Like, that's the thing. I feel like the Rams always play teams and they get these like knick-knack wins, and I'm like, I don't know.
I feel the same way. To me, these were 2 teams that both seem very, very fraudulent. It just so happens that like one of them had to win, like the Rams or Cardinals. One of them had to win, I both kind of viewed them in the same eyes that you were saying. I'm like, I don't really know if either of these teams are legit. Like for the Cardinals, like Murray, Murray had a bad game, obviously, but this is his first playoff game. Remember Josh Allen's first playoff game against the Texans? He looked the same way. I really, really want to see Kyler, who's one of the most talented, quarterbacks, athletes in the league. I want to see him, with a new coach. I want to see if that makes any difference. Because, Cliff, kind of like McCarthy situation, Cliff, based off this game, based off the second half of the season production from this season, from last season, I don't know. I mean, they'll probably give him another year. We'll see. But I would really, really want to see another great Brian Flores team, big Brian Flores fan. This would be another great team for him if they decide to, go their separate ways with Cliff. But as for the Rams, I don't really trust them either. I could easily see them, getting destroyed by the Bucs. I think it is going to be close, but I think the Bucs, they don't have as much talent, but I think they have more discipline. They just do the little things better than the Rams. I don't know. And then Stafford. Who knows what you're going to get from Stafford? I mean, Stafford looked really good, but he didn't really have to do that much just because, the defense was awesome. Kyler was not awesome. So, it's going to be interesting. Rams have a lot riding on this game, man. I mean, if they lose second round, like the whole Stafford, experiment, it's going to look really, really tough because it was really Super Bowl or bust. So we'll see. My prediction for that round versus Tampa Bay when it comes. We'll just kind of transition right now, talking about the Rams going up against the Bucs. One of the games that we'll be seeing this upcoming weekend. They're potentially going to be without left tackle Andrew Whitworth, who's been stonewall out there for them, been blocking like a madman. And that Tampa Bay front seven is nasty. They got a lot of guys out there that can go get the passer, and Stafford does bad under pressure. I was watching a couple of videos talking about it, looking at that pick that, he threw to Andrew Thomas, right? The Niners wide DB. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was getting pressured.
Ambry Thomas.
Yeah, threw it off his back foot or something like that. I think when it comes to the front sevens in the league, Bucs got a scary one, regardless who's out there for them. And I don't know if the Rams can handle it. If I'm taking a pick, I'm taking the Bucs to win this game. And I think they're going to win in dominating fashion. Mike Evans probably going to get shut down for a big portion of the game if Ramsey's going to be on him, but I don't care who's out there. I think Brashard Perryman can do something with Gronkowski, whoever it is. Give me the Bucs because you can't bet against Brady in the playoffs. That's a cardinal sin.
Well, that's all day.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah, Brady, they don't even have their best weapons, and I still trust the Bucs and Brady so much more.
Exactly. So we'll hop in next game. We talked about it. We talked about all these games kind of in a little bit, but 49ers, Packers, obviously, I think we all know the X factors for these teams, how they're going to win this game. Honestly, the Niners could probably just get blown out by Devontae Adams running like crazy routes on them the entire game. But you know what? I can't morally pick on this game. I'll say that. But actually, no, I'll go Packers. So at least if I'm wrong in one way, it'll work out right. But I
don't know. I'm leaning towards the Niners right now.
I think.
The only thing is,
Well, I was gonna say like the last season for Rodgers just gonna go off.
Yeah, the Niners' run game right now looks really good. I don't know if it's better than that year when they had Mostert when they ran all over the Packers or not, but they still look really good. The Packers team is healthier and I think has better depth than that team you faced 2 years ago. I mean, they've got Rasul Douglas now, who's like an all-star corner. They've got the rookie Eric Stokes, who's taken on his role. Their D-line is nasty. It's just like, are you going to let Devontae Adams beat you on offense? That's probably a yes. And then who else? Because, I mean, they've got to get somebody else to step up, whether it's Lazard or I don't even know if Valdez-Scantling healthy?
Who knows? They got some random guys out there. Equanimous.
Yeah, I don't know. I know Lazard's there.
Yeah, Equanimous. I mean, yeah.
I don't see
I'm thinking Niners. I don't know. I just have like this deep gut feeling that the Niners are just gonna breeze through this game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the Packers they're gonna have their run game's not gonna do much. I think AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones get shut down, and it's gonna be Aaron Rodgers versus Deebo Samuel and Elijah Mitchell in this game. Carson, who you got?
Yeah, the same thing. It sounds cliche, but it's literally just going to be like, all right, who's going to have the better performance? Is it going to be Deebo and the Niners run game as a whole, or is it going to be, Rodgers and Adams, who, Adams could easily, I mean, he could just destroy our secondary, and, him and Rodgers, they both single-handedly, beat us. So whatever, two sides of that coin, does better. I think that's really key. It's simple, but it's like, if the Niners, get more rushing yards or whatnot than he has receiving yards, whatever, like that's going to be a secret to us winning the game. I'd still go with the Packers. Like Jose said, they're more complete, but I would definitely watch out for that. I mean, the Niners, they match up really well. I'd still pick the Packers, but I think it's going to be really, really close.
I'm taking +6 though. If I'm betting on anything, I'm taking +6.
Yeah, 100%. I wouldn't take the Packers at having to win by a touchdown.
I can see Crosby just hitting a game-winning one.
2 field goals.
Gets us off.
Yeah. 100%.
We'll save the best one for last. Bengals Titans. Tennessee favored at -3.5. I'm rocking with Joe Shiesty. I'm rocking with the Bengals. I think they're gonna pull it off. Too much offensive firepower for a team that, besides Kevin Byard, has no secondary help. And I think they'll be able to neutralize them in some way. Who knows if Mixon gets involved, but I got to put my faith in Burrow. He's got that playoff DNA. We know what he did out there for LSU. Put some embarrassing performance on some guys. So give me the Bengals.
I think they've got to save Mixon for the second half. They've got to throw the ball early, get up, force the Titans to pass. They cannot let the Titans control the clock, cannot let them control, the flow of the game. That's going to be the biggest thing. It's like, can the Bengals get a lead early and keep it? Because they had an early lead on the Raiders and then slowly let them creep up. So they've just, they've got to keep their foot on the gas, got to, assert their dominance offensively. That's really going to be the biggest key.
Yeah, 100% agree with Jose. If I'm the Bengals, I'm coming out, first few drives, I'm just throwing bombs to Chase or Higgins, hope, they don't make a play, hopefully get a PI call, something like that. Like, yeah, you have to go out with a bang because that's what you do best. I'm going to pick the Titans just because they're a safer pick to me. For like, I've seen it so many times where like the playoff teams, everyone loves, it's super hype. They always disappoint and lose to a team that's way less fun than they are. So I'm going to take that, and I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm going to be rooting for the Bengals, but I'm going to, go with the Titans just based off, the safety play, with, Henry, they're being steady. I'm going to go with them. And Mike Vrabel, I think he's a, better coach than Zach Taylor. at this current moment. So I'll go with the Titans. I wouldn't pick them at -3.5 though. I definitely tease that to at most 3, but I think it could be decided between a point or 2. I think it's going to be close as well. All these games, I mean, these games are fantastic. We're in for a crazy couple of days. Like each matchup is just super, super intriguing. Not like last round where there's a couple games like, come on, like every game is going to be hopefully fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so taking a look at this last matchup, it's the Super Bowl essentially in my eyes. We got the Bills versus the Chiefs, a matchup that we just going to love seeing these next couple of years and for however long these two guys stay there. I got an interesting dilemma going on in my head because I got to look at the Bills and how dominant they've been and then obviously KC. But when it comes down to it, I'm thinking, hey, Buffalo is without their number 1 corner, Tre'Davious White. And, who's going to slow down Tyreek Hill? Who's going to slow down Travis Kelce? Because you got to pick and choose. You can't just slow down both. That's not how it works with this team. You can only pick one. And as much as I want to see Buffalo do this, make a run at the Super Bowl, give me the Chiefs. Give me the Chiefs. It's a lame pick, but I think Mahomes is just going to shut everyone up and say, Allen's been great, but I don't care if I had a rough start. I'm still the motherfucking man. So give me the Chiefs.
I'm on the same wave. I think, this Bills team has been really fun to watch. They've been really good. But I think the Chiefs are just kind of like their big brother. Like, they're just a better version of the team. And I think they want it a little bit more. So, just give me the Chiefs. I just think they're a more dominant team overall, to be honest.
Yeah, both teams were – honestly, they had very similar kind of story arcs in a sense this year. The first half of the season, they're like, wait a sec, neither of these teams are playing anywhere close to where we all thought they would. But then they both figured it out. They're both coming into the playoffs super, super hot. Defense is rolling. Offense is insane. So, again, I'm going with you guys. I'm picking the Chiefs. But I think it's going to be way, way closer than, the playoff game they had last year. I think the Bills – I might even take the Bills – first half or first quarter money line. I think they're going to come out firing, but the Chiefs, end up, Mahomes, a little magic, get on a run the second half and end up taking a close game. I think, the Chiefs home field advantage is going to play a massive, massive factor. I feel like in deciding this game. And I think if the Bills were home, I would lean the Bills' way. I think it's just going to be that important because I think it's really splitting hairs with both of these teams. So I'll go with the Chiefs fairly.
Yeah, total side note before we dip off on here. Looking at the Chiefs, though, I think this offseason, they need to go after and get another young weapon on their team because, Tyreek's getting older. Travis Kelce's slowly regressing. I don't think – he wasn't even the best tight end this year. It was clearly Mark Andrews. I think go out there – drop the guy in the first round. I know that sounds, out of pocket for them to do. I mean, they did do that with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and they seem like, they should go like defensive line or something like that. No, like go get a guy like Treylon Burks, who's a fantastic weapon. DK Metcalf Jr., what people are saying out there, or go get Olave, go get Wilson. Make a trade because you need a guy that's going to be on the same pathway as Mahomes because Tyreek in like 3 or 4 years, that speed's not going to be there. And he's got to rely on his route running, which, is still very good, but you need another guy to grow along with them. And we'll see. But tons of games coming this week.
From Ohio State? Like in the Jigba?
Oh, he's a sophomore. So he's going to have his junior year this upcoming season. Nah, that would have been crazy if they had 3
He's
guys.
Nasty.
Hey, real quick, another weapon that's pretty good on KC right now that I would have never guessed, McKinnon.
Mm-hmm.
McKinnon's solid. It's probably their best option right now, running back. Crazy to see. Yeah. I mean, that guy was always injured, but I'm glad to see him healthy.
Yeah. Well, we got some stuff to get to. So Coast to Coast Podcast, great having you guys. We'll be back looking at the championship weekend and looking forward to some other stuff. We're going to start diving into some NBA once the season begins to die down. And we got trade line coming up. Already had a mood made. 3-team trade was just last night. So we'll get back to you next week with some content. Without further ado, just signing out. Peace.